All right, welcome back, everyone. Hope you've had a nice holiday. Happy New Year. Ready to get back to work. Hope your classes, if you had class this morning, are going well. Prepared for the spring semester. I haven't had to teach yet. My first class is tomorrow. So I still have a little bit of prep to do for mine. All right, so the January 9th meeting of the WVU Faculty Senate will come to order. We do have a quorum today. The minutes from our December meeting have been distributed with the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved, and Corey will get those posted onto the website. President Gee is in Charleston today for some panel discussions and meetings with the legislature, so he's not going to be joining us. So we'll get started today with a report from Provost Mary Ann Reed. Mary Ann.
Thank you, Scott. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you today. I hope each of you had a wonderful holiday break and you're back ready to go and start the new semester. We are entering into the winter weather. So I know some of you experienced at home the 2-hour delay with your kids, and you may have seen the notice that went out today reminding you of our weather policy and for cancellation for classes. And only thing I would say to you all is that just remember that your students may be hampered by the weather coming to class, even if we do have classes and sessions. So please be flexible when you can. Our December commencement went off without a hitch, and we can see that the majority of our students, large majority of students, are back for the start of the spring semester, which is very positive in many respects. We are, I know you're going to be talking a little bit today about the P&T document, but in general, we are moving into P&T season. We have more than 184 faculty who are going up for either tenure or tenure and promotion decisions this spring, and we will be busy. This, I believe, is our second busiest or largest collection of P&T files that we've had, and they continue to grow. We are entering into year 3 of the Academic Transformation Initiative. We began this process in spring of 2021, and so this is actually the beginning of year 3. And I met with the provost office team on Friday, and we looked at what we believe will be our priorities for this year 3 and for spring in particular. We will be rolling some of that out soon on our website, but just to share with you some of the areas that we believe will be part of our agenda moving forward. Again, we will be really focusing on student success and either developing new or implementing current strategies for increasing our retention and our persistence and graduation rates. One of the things I'm very excited to share with you is that we just received funding from the Mayor Foundation, $1 million, to support a completion grants program. And this is a program that is designed to help students who are struggling financially, perhaps in their last semester. They need a little bit of extra money in order to cross the finish line, or they've lost their Promise scholarship and they need a little bit of extra money to move into kind of a regular payment plan. So we're excited about that. That can be a real factor that impacts retention, because students, if they don't have that little bit of extra money and they leave, they often don't come back. So we're excited that we're going to be able to put some meat on those bones and begin that program as early as this spring. And we think we can help anywhere between 200 to 500 students, depending on the size of the grants, which typically are around $1,000 or $1,500. We will continue to focus on our REACH program, which is going to be a new program designed to support students who are particularly vulnerable to dropping out of school or stopping out. So these are often students who are Pell Grant eligible or first generation students or a combination of first generation Pell eligible, underrepresented students. And so we are seeking funding for that and hope to be able to have some more information about that a little bit later this spring. A couple of other areas that we'll be looking at this semester, really taking a deep dive in. One of those is looking at parts of term and whether we need to add additional shorter terms than the 16-week semesters. This is a student success issue in part because students tend to do a little bit better in these shorter, more concentrated terms. Our winter session and Maymester are becoming incredibly popular. And these are these 3-week courses that students take, very concentrated. They typically take 1, maybe 2 courses, no more. And so we're looking at those to see whether they can be expanded, what kinds of students are typically enrolled in those courses. So for example, we did a data dive for this past winter session. And what we noticed is that there were a lot of freshmen taking courses that they didn't succeed in the fall semester. So this may be a real retention opportunity to offer those courses that students struggle with, maybe the introductory STEM courses or math courses over those shorter periods. We're even talking about, of course, we'll work with Faculty Senate on this and faculty, but do we want to consider a 3-week August term before students start their courses, because they tend to want to do those sessions close to regular semesters, and maybe looking at some additional 8-week courses. So anyway, more to come on that. We will be taking a really deep dive look into career services this semester. We want to really understand what services we offer our students, what we could do more to help our students get internships, jobs. Really that's a selling point to be able to say that we are supporting students to get those, to get those experiences and to get jobs when they graduate. So we're going to look at that. The first step will be to do an audit of our career services programs that are both centralized and in the colleges. There are some really great practices that are happening at the local level that we might want to adopt in a campus-wide careers program. So those are some of the things. And then finally, we're just going to really ramp up our efforts to expand WVU online. We've been talking about that, but this will be a pretty significant focus this year, and looking in particular at how we support those folks who want to upskill. So professional stackable certificates, badging, that sort of thing, in addition to looking at some other professional degree programs that are very in demand that we could be offering at WVU. And then we're going to be looking at targeting some of these programs to targeted audience, such as veterans and military folks and alumni. Which, if you think about it, our alumni are a huge, huge population of people who already like WVU and may have an interest in upskilling, and what can we offer them in terms of those stackable certificates or additional credentials. Personnel-wise, the only thing to share with you is that our new president of WVU Tech, Dr. Terrence Ramon Stewart, started on January 1st. And we just touched base today, and he's doing very well and already getting into the spirit of WVU Tech and WVU. Just a couple of other items to share with you. One, the budget remains tight for 2023. And I know you'll be getting a full report at the February Faculty Senate meeting. Paula Congilio will be sharing information, but it's tight. And I tell you that because there may be additional information coming out about further things we need to do this spring to tighten the budget. We haven't quite reached the cap on expenditures that we needed to see happen. But we are also waiting to see what research dollars are coming in and to really get a feel for the tuition that is coming in this spring. So again, in the next couple of weeks, you'll probably be hearing more about the 2023 budget. Also want to share with you that a memo or a release should go out this week regarding offering a modification of duties for graduate students. This is similar to what we offer for faculty, which is if you have a birth, a child born in your family, or you have some other serious life-altering event, we're going to allow graduate students to take leave. We think that's the humane thing to do. It's actually probably not going to be very expensive because we looked at what other schools are doing, but we thought this is a benefit we should be offering to our grad students who do such important work for us at the university. And then last but not least, I wanted to tell you, I know there were some questions about the cost of study abroad for our students. I talked to Amber Brignoli, and she has some new information. She could not be here today. She is she's on reserve duty, but she wanted to share with you all that that the Office of Graduate Affairs awarded 100 students $50,000 worth of scholarships for faculty-led trips for this spring. And that the deadline for summer travel scholarships is April 1, and you should be encouraging your students to apply for those through the Office of Global Affairs. And that is my report.
Provost Reed, Lisa DiBartolomeo, Eberly College of Arts and Sciences. Jen and I promised our friend Suzanne that we would ask this question. She
Sure.
taught a winter intercession course, and we were having dinner, I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock on December 30th, and she was FaceTiming with a student who was having IT issues with these intercession courses, particularly over the winter holiday. There is no active IT. There is no one they can call. So when Respondus lockdown or some other tool doesn't work, people are kind of up a creek. So if we're going to be putting more emphasis on those interterms and those
Sure.
semesters, we probably need to make sure that we've got IT coverage and support. So I can tell Suzanne that we raised this issue.
That is absolutely fine. And I can't speak to that, but I will look into it. Yep. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Provost Reed. So the next item on the agenda is my report. As you may recall, during the fall semester, we asked for, let me share the screen real quick. We asked for volunteers for the Promotion and Tenure Advisory Council. And Chris Staples has put that council together. Those are the members. The executive committee has approved that membership. As Provost Reed said, they'll be addressing about 184 cases for promotion or tenure during this session. Are there any questions about that list of members for the PNT Advisory Panel? Get back and get rid of that share. All right, so a couple of other items to report. During the December 12th Faculty Executive Committee, the Executive Committee voted to discontinue the COVID-19 syllabus statement. That statement no longer reflected the procedures that the university had in place, and the current attendance policy has provisions for handling students who are absent due to illness, including COVID-19. I've been asked by Lisa DiBartolomeo to promote the upcoming Student Life Fair. Student Life will host a fun open fair in the Mountain Air Ballrooms, Monday, January 23rd from 11 to 2. All of the programs that are involved in student life will have tables to help faculty, staff, and students learn more about the resources that the Student Life Office provides. And it's a great chance for faculty to learn more about what Student Life does and how they can get involved. And then the last item for me today As many of you are probably aware, there was a petition to call for a faculty assembly meeting to allow the faculty to vote on the proposed promotion and tenure procedures document. That petition, the last time I looked earlier this morning, had 193 signatures, required about 140 to meet the threshold to hold that faculty assembly meeting. So we are planning to do that meeting. We're anticipating it will be on Wednesday, January 18th at 3 o'clock, and it will be an online meeting. Just a reminder, for the faculty assembly to take any action, we need a quorum of 675 faculty or more in attendance at that meeting, and we need to maintain that quorum until we actually take action to vote on those procedures. So the notice will go out probably in a day or so with the details about that meeting. Please encourage faculty in your units to attend and participate. That concludes my report. Are there any questions for me? Okay, so next on the agenda is a report from the chair of the curriculum committee, Lori Ogden. Lori.
Thanks. Yeah, I have several for approval items. The first is the new courses report found in Annex 1, the course change report in Annex 2, and then 9 programs. So we have a program in engineering technology and the associated AOEs, engineering technology, engineering management and entrepreneurship, industrial engineering technology, mechanical engineering technology, and multidisciplinary engineering technology, a minor nonprofit management, and 2 majors, one in professional writing and editing, and another in scientific and technical writing.
Are there any questions or comments about those annexes?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Ripley Sickle from Eberly College. And I was reviewing the new courses, and the PSL courses raised some concerns with me, and how maybe it's raising a larger concern about how we do new courses in brand new programs. But if you look at those syllabi, they're greatly lacking in content. It's basically just learning objectives. And so it's difficult to approve these courses when they are not necessarily courses yet. From my understanding, the courses have to be approved before the new program is approved. But if the courses are lacking content, how can you approve the program? So I don't know if we need to table those courses currently until we have this resolved or something, but this needs to be addressed.
Lori, do you want to comment?
Sure. I mean, really all I can tell you is that, our approval process right now, requires, we assign 2 reviewers to each course that's reviewed, whether it's a new course or a course proposal. We look at the KIM entry, which is really a primary focus of ours, and then we require a reference syllabus. So the reference syllabus that's uploaded isn't a syllabus that would be distributed to students. It's really for the purposes of curriculum review. And for these courses, we felt that these courses met the criteria that we were looking for and subsequently passed them.
You want to say anything? You want to?
And just to address your comment about the larger issue, we are currently in curriculum committee discussing, Lou Slimak, Associate Provost Curriculum Assessment, addressing the place of syllabi in KIM. For this very reason, there has been a long several-year discussion of what kind of syllabi, what elements, what purpose they serve, how that relates to new curriculum proposals, how that relates to existing curriculum proposals, changes, and trying to strike a balance of giving the Faculty Senate Curriculum Committee enough information to review the curriculum meaningfully without simultaneously creating a tremendous amount of work for the curriculum committee itself, as well as the chairs, departments, and colleges. So that is an ongoing committee and process. In fact, we meet this month to pick that back up.
I just you know, when I go through this process, it's very detailed. You know, have to have a very strict syllabus with content and then when I look at these that are going up for approval in the PSL, they're just shells. I mean, there's nothing to approve. So I don't want to say there's a favoritism here, but it seemed very disconnected to the process that I've had to go through before to what I'm seeing today.
Keep in mind also that there are different levels of approval. And so what we are talking about now is the Faculty Senate Curriculum Committee and its requirements. And its requirements, as Lori said, we have moved to the reference syllabi, which are primarily around the areas of assessment and how this course could be recognized or taught, but it is not necessarily a full syllabus. Your college and your department can have different requirements and require a much more fleshed out syllabus than we require at the Senate Curriculum Committee level. If you are encountering that, that's a discussion to raise with your dean's office or department chair, because that may be their requirements and not the Senate Curriculum Committee's requirements.
Scott Critchlow, really. So a couple things have come up because this is in the so-called Rockefeller School. This program would be. And so the feedback that we've heard from faculty in that program hit 2 points. The first and most important one, I think, is like the central thing Jen raises, that a lot of people have been spending a lot of time on syllabus construction for insane details from many people's points of view. And it's not remotely clear why certain syllabuses should be given special status to say, you know, we're just going to push things through. I mean, I also add, yeah, there's other things, but this is a brand new major that doesn't exist anywhere exactly. So there's not going to be like departmental review. It's a public service leadership major, which will be simply taught mostly by people who are already here potentially, or maybe 1 or 2 hires, but they might be internal. There's no clarity whatsoever about who's going to teach these classes. And if you all look at what's in chem, there was truly no substance whatsoever. There is assessment, but there's a sub-assessment of absolutely nothing. There's no readings. So I don't know how we're going to know what this program is, if it overlaps with other programs. I mean, there's part of the title is leadership. We have like 15 leadership programs in the University of Pilsen. Until we have a clearer idea of what these classes are supposed to be, since this is the only chance the Senate has to say anything about them, it feels to me like we should pause those classes until we actually know what they are, because that's kind of like the only way we'll know what this program is.
So I'll address different parts of that, Scott. The curriculum committee's process includes a pre-review before it ever gets to them about competition and redundancy. We've had this conversation already with the Eberle's Dean's Office and with Chambers College Dean's Office, because there are at least some overlap with existing leadership and organizational leadership programs. The Chambers Dean's Office and department who teaches that program, as well as the Eberle's Dean's Office and departments who teach leadership programs in Eberle's Dean's Office, see these as distinct programs, as distinct courses with distinct learning outcomes. Our evaluation process, both in my office and in the curriculum committee, is to look for overlap based upon the learning outcomes that are presented in CHEM, both at the program level and the course level. From that kind of evaluation, the reason it is passed and is here at Senate today is that our bodies, again, my office and curriculum committee separately, I'm not a voting member, have deemed that there isn't significant overlap, and then we have the reassurance of the dean's offices that they don't feel that there is significant overlap either. From a course standpoint, again, I think you're getting at the issues of what goes in the syllabus, who is requiring that, and why. Senate Curriculum Committee is clear about what the Senate Curriculum Committee requires. It is only the elements that are listed online in the reference syllabus and syllabus. That is all we require right now. And again, we're undertaking a review of why we require those elements and if we will pull back, increase them, or how we review those. If you are experiencing what you feel are different degrees of evaluation at your college or department staff, that is a conversation for your college curriculum committee or department curriculum committee. The Senate Curriculum Committee reviews it based on the guidelines we have outlined and posted and agreed upon as a committee. And those are uniform across whatever is presented to us, whether it's a full syllabus or a partial syllabus, a reference syllabus for those purposes. Those elements are all present in these courses, and that is why they have passed the committee's review.
I'm just going to say, 'cause I haven't proposed a new class in ages. I'm just, saying what people in my college have said, and they would strenuously disagree with your interpretation of those facts. But beyond that, I mean, just so like one of the classes is called Assessing Policy Change. That to me sounds like a political science class. That certainly sounds to me like stuff that already overlaps with existing classes, but there is absolutely no content on the syllabus for us to be able to judge it. So I don't know what this is and what we're supposedly improving.
And I again say that that passed your department and college
No,
steps.
no, it did not. It passed the college. The college has not been remotely interactive with the departments or
That
the
is-
faculty that will supposedly teach these things. And
Not-
so the Senate exists partially to be the representative of the faculty. And we don't have we have a Dean's Advisory Committee. We don't have an Eberly College Senate. This is the only output we have, or place for output or like whatever, to kind of raise these kinds of concerns. Just because the dean's office signed off on it does not mean that the university should, because it certainly looks like a lot of overlap in this, that we don't know what this program is.
So Jennifer, Scott, do you want to make a motion on an action that have the Senate vote on? You want to send it back? to
Well,
curriculum
I would
committee, or-
personally like to see, and I think Jennifer would agree, that the committee would hold on to the PLS syllabuses until we actually have some content about what they are and whether or not they will overlap with existing programs. But I do want to make sure that the faculty at Tech know this. In the CHIM, or I always do that, I was Kim some CHIM, never like that. Anyway, in the Kim take on the proposed, because this be before the proposed program, it does note there is a similar program at Tech. Tech has not been contacted about this. So senators at Tech, I would especially encourage you to look at this.
Not trying to go out of order, Lisa DiBartolomeo, Eberly College of Arts and Sciences, but I think that to Scott's point, and I think Lou's point is well taken, that this is the Senate process. And maybe the breakdown has occurred before it got to Senate because the person who proposed these courses is also the person who has approved these courses going forward, which seems to be a bit of a conflict of interest at the very least. So maybe the fact that an associate dean in the Eberly College is the person who originated and proposed these courses and then approved these courses going forward without anybody else actually looking at these courses may be part of the problem.
So do we just want to move to send it back to curriculum committee or move to send it back to the department or college? We need some specific motion.
So Dave Hauser, Eberly, I would at least like to offer Chris Klein an opportunity to speak here. He's not a senator, but I will recognize him for the purpose of doing so.
Hi, I'm Chris Klein. I'm a professor of public administration. I'm also a senior advisor to the dean on the Rockefeller School and other strategic initiatives in the Eberly College. Thank you, Dave, for recognizing me. So, Lori, I would invite you to share with the group the amount of discussion and input that you've had in this process. And Lou, you may be able to do that as well. I want to remind folks that there was a committee within the college that started working on this in 2021 to outline a framework for a major. This is a new major, and because it's a new major, it's building from elements that we have in our liberal arts tradition within our College of Arts and Sciences. If you look at the CIM record, you'll notice that there has been a considerable amount of interaction between the deans, the provost office. As Lou said, there has been discussion with the Chambers College and others. These syllabi that have been proposed are not solely authored by an associate dean, but have actually had input from various faculty who are on that committee. This is likely and certainly a work in progress, like all new majors. I'd also remind folks that this major in and of itself reflects some of the priorities that that Provost Reed outlined in the beginning of her comments today. And were also issues that were raised in January of 2019 from our EDS reports and others, talking about new and creative ways that we can reach students and to be able to have those students have opportunities for hands-on learning. In many ways, this major is intended to be a complement to the strong programs in leadership studies and the strong programs in political science. Going forward, clearly, the further development of this major will entail more discussion at the college level and with other stakeholders across the university. Thanks.
Sure, and I can add that the program and courses have been with the Senate Curriculum Committee for the past 3 meetings, I want to say. We have spent hours discussing them. We have hosted the initiators along with Chris and listened to concerns from faculty and have had extensive discussions with, again, the initiators of the program and courses to where we, again, were satisfied with the way those questions were answered and felt comfortable passing the courses.
I think we need, if we're going to do anything, we need a specific motion related to these courses.
So I move that these courses be pulled from this curriculum committee report, held up until the program proposal is brought forward, and then the Senate can consider them all together as one.
Everybody hear that motion? At the Rockefeller School?
Yes, it's the only major in the Rockefeller. It would be the only major in the Rockefeller.
So, is there a second to that motion? Okay, so all those in favor of pulling these courses out of this curriculum report and bringing them back after the major has been approved, please raise your hand. Corey, keep them up. Corey's counting from the back. There's 29 online. $29 in person. Are there any opposed? We have 1 opposed in person. Frankie? So we would oppose would be we would go ahead and include them in the committee report and approve them with the other courses. Okay, so we have a lot more in person. Are you good, Corey? Okay, so that motion was to remove those courses from this curriculum report and address them again after the major has been approved, and that passed. All right, so so that set of courses will be taken out of this curriculum committee report. We still need to vote on the remainder of the report. Are there any questions about any of the remaining courses for the new programs or program changes that are in today's curriculum report? Can you say what courses those are for the record, Lori?
The specific courses? I
Yeah,
don't
that
have
we
right
will
in front
not
of me.
be approving today.
So there were a number of PSL courses, but I don't have that in front of me.
And the PSL is program name,
Public service and learning.
Public Service
Leadership,
and Learning.
public service and leadership.
So it is the courses that were listed in the annex on public service and learning.
Leadership.
Would not be approved today. Any other questions or comments? Right, so we'll bundle the remaining courses, new programs, and program changes into one vote. So we are excluding the PSL courses and voting on approving all of the other curriculum report items. All right, so all in favor of approving those courses with the exception of the PSL courses, please raise your hand. You have 18. 18 online. Are you good? Okay. Are there any opposed to approving the remaining courses with the exception of the PSL courses? No opposed. Thank you, Lori. All right, the next item on the agenda is a report from the General Education Foundations Committee. Chair Lisa DeBartolomeo, she's shaking her head that she has no report. Thank you, Lisa. Next item would be a report from the Teaching and Assessment Committee, from Diana Davis. No report. Committee report from the Committee on Committees, Leslie Cottrell. Leslie.
Hi, everyone. Leslie Cottrell from School of Medicine. On NX3, you see one replacement. We had a committee member representing pharmacy on curriculum committee. We had one leave us, so we simply substituted in someone willing to give us their time. That's for NX3 for approval.
Are there any questions for Annex 3? All those in favor of approving that committee change, raise your hand. Are there any opposed? All right, thank you, Leslie. Next report is from our representative to state government, Eloise Elliott. Eloise.
Thank you. As you probably know, the legislative session is beginning on Wednesday. And some of the issues that will probably be coming up during this session, just for your information, is restructuring of PEIA, most likely with premium increases, restructuring of the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Services, the tax reform, which most likely will be something to do with reducing personal property taxes, addressing mental health and substance abuse issues, economic development strategies. And for those of you in education or with children in schools, they're looking at putting teacher aides in all K-3 schools to help improve math and reading skills. Other items that might come up, again, campus carry and the critical race theory, but we think it's unlikely right now, but you never know. So that's
there
my
any-
report.
Any questions for Eloise? I am going to reach out to Rob Alsop. He teaches a course somewhere in this building at this time, this semester, but I am going to reach out to him if there are any issues that he thinks we need to be aware of for the February. Next report is from our Board of Governors representative, Stan Heilman.
Kim, did you have a question?
Oh, sorry about that.
I just wondered if there was any additional information about the DHHS, if we know anything further about that. You talked about some restructuring. I'm Kim Kelly from the School of Pharmacy.
Right now, they're just talking about perhaps making it in three different, restructuring it in three different units. I don't know a whole lot about that yet, but that's kind of the talk that's been going on with the legislators right now. So they said that that's going to be, I've been talking to Travis Mollahan and he's been keeping me up to date. And he said that and the PEIA are going to be the top issues right off the bat. Yes, but I don't have any more information at this time.
Thank you, Eloise. Thanks, Kim. Stan?
So we had a very short meeting on December 16th. We received a clear audit report from Clifton Arson Allen on the WVU Research Corps. We also had some updates on capital projects, and then, of course, as usual, heard reports from the provost and president. The next meetings are February 16th and 17th.
Are there any questions for Stan? All right, thank you, sir. All right, the next item on the agenda is a for approval item to approve a resolution that approves the revised procedures for faculty appointment, annual evaluation, promotion, and tenure. In light of the pending faculty assembly meeting, I understand there's a friendly motion regarding this agenda item.
So Dave Hauser, Eberly, I move that the Senate refer this entire agenda item to the faculty assembly.
Is there a second? So this is a motion to refer this entire agenda item to the pending meeting of the faculty assembly to be acted on by the faculty assembly. That essentially would table that agenda item here in the Senate. And we can bring that agenda item up again should the faculty assembly not reach quorum or not produce any action with regards to this agenda item. Is there a second for that motion? Okay, we have a second. Is there any discussion or question regarding this motion? Victor, you want to step in the microphone?
Victor Musino from Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. I just have a question about what would be the situation in case the quorum is not reached, number one. And number two, if the percent of approval is fixed, or will it be revised to better represent the, the assembly?
So if according to the Constitution, faculty assembly has to meet quorum to act on any agenda item. If we don't reach quorum in that meeting, we will essentially have the executive committee place that agenda item back on the Senate agenda for the February meeting, and the Senate would proceed to consider that agenda item. Your second question was about percentages of faculty who are there.
The percent of the vote, if it is going to be, I don't know, 51% or 60%, what percent is required to make a motion carry?
So that particular vote requires a simple majority to pass it. The item that will be considered is a motion to approve or a resolution approving the revised promotion and tenure guidelines that the provost has shared on the website. It takes a majority vote, 51%, 50 plus, to approve that document. If the vote does not reach a simple majority, then the document would not be approved. It is not a supermajority or a 2/3 or anything like that. Simple majority vote to act on that resolution.
Okay, in that regard, I would like to share a concern that I have heard from constituents in my college, and that relates to the representation of different units in this assembly that are affected differently by the new policy. That may produce a vote that may affect people differently, and that has to do with the percent of representation in the whole assembly and in the Senate. So my question to you, or to whoever is appropriate, is if the percent of vote needed is fixed or can be debated.
I believe that cannot be debated, and so it is fixed. And there's within the assembly, there is not a provision to equalize representation from different units. The assembly consists of all faculty according to Board of Governors Rule 4.2, and every member of the assembly gets a vote. So there's no mechanism that, like in the Senate, where we have a number of senators that represents the population within the units. There's no way to have that kind of distribution within the faculty assembly itself.
I just may like to suggest that these two issues, that if the number of members in the assembly are not, if the threshold is not reached, that the agenda will be sent back to the Senate, and that the simple majority is what's in the books or what's required, that this be made clear to everyone, so everybody knows exactly what, what's to come. Whenever the next communication should make those 2 points clear.
Okay, so it would come back to the Senate. We will put it back on the agenda for the February Senate meeting. I will, in the messaging that goes out about the faculty assembly, we'll address that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Jenna Martin, College of Law. Another question that was raised from one of the constituents here at the law school was, I apologize that I didn't know this answer, but I was out for most of last semester. The effect of this vote, if voted on by a simple majority, would be in fact to pass the PNT. In other words, it can't be overruled by the Provost's office or the Board of Governments, whatever the form of the vote is, or am I incorrect on that?
That is a vote for the faculty assembly to approve those procedures as they have been presented. The faculty senate and the faculty assembly are advisory bodies. So we can't necessarily override any decisions by the provost's office. I believe the provost and her team intend to work with the faculty senate and the faculty assembly as they have been doing. And there would be some follow-up interaction between faculty assembly and faculty senate on what the next steps would be.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jared Sims. I'm College of Creative Arts. I'm a musician, so I have to deal with this mic stand. I'm used to it. It's part of the job. It's inevitable that the people on the faculty are going to ask if the vote is anonymous. And then the other part of that question will be, if it's anonymous, then there's going to be somebody on the other side that's going to read it. So is there a way to identify who that is? I mean, I'm just saying these are questions of the past. And I anticipate them again.
So our plan, just like we were going to do in the Senate meeting today, the vote at the faculty assembly will be done by a Qualtrics form sent out to the faculty listserv. We will have to ask faculty to provide enough identifying information that we can verify that they are eligible to cast a vote. That being said, a very limited number of people who will see the votes with the name. Probably myself and Corey Hunt. And as we did with the vaccine mandate vote and the no confidence vote that we did last year, we will not share the names with how the individual voted. That is our intention. Does that answer your question? Is there any other discussion or question? All right, so the motion we are voting on is a motion to refer this agenda item, refer the resolution to approve the proposed promotion and tenure procedures to the faculty assembly meeting that is most likely going to be scheduled Wednesday, January 18th at 3 o'clock online. All those in favor of referring this item to the faculty assembly, please raise your hand. Keep them up while Corey counts. You have 19 online, Frankie. Corey? How many? 53. 20 online and 53 in person. Are there is anyone opposed to referring this to the faculty senate? That would mean a vote that we continue the debate here today and act on it. Please raise your hand if you are opposed. How many, Corey? 9 in the room, 0 online. So the motion to refer this agenda item to the upcoming faculty assembly meeting has passed. And we will take this up at the faculty assembly meeting as soon as we can get that scheduled. All right, the next item on the agenda was a resolution that the faculty senate leadership had put together relating to the process that the faculty senate would like to see the colleges and departments use in developing their promotion and tenure guidelines as they do the work to align those guidelines with the new university procedures. Again, since we are deferring this to the faculty assembly, Dave has a motion.
So again, Dave Hauser, Eberly, I move that the Senate table this issue until the action of the faculty assembly, and then the Senate can take up and address and do what it wants to with this.
Is there a second on the motion to table the second resolution? Second. Motion to table is not debatable. So all those in favor of tabling this agenda item to a future meeting, please raise your hand. All right, there are 20 votes online. Corey? 67. Are there any opposed to tabling this agenda item? 0 opposed. So that motion also passes. The Senate will potentially bring that agenda item back up at a future meeting. All right. Sure. We have one hand up online. Are those hands up online opposed votes? If you're opposing, please keep your hand raised online. If not, please lower. One opposed online. Keenan, do you want to speak, or is that a vote to oppose? We can't hear you if you're talking. Okay, I think that's one vote opposed online. All right. Is there any new business? Scott.
Hi, again, Scott Mitchell, Eberly. So I'm going to ask a question. It's not exactly new business, but I raised this to you last fall. I didn't bring it up at the December meeting because, you know, before the appetizers, vibes, all that. But something that came up that was reported in the Charleston paper, the rules, the Board of Governors rules change that was made at the end of last year. There was reporting on it that reported that a great deal of the College of Law faculty was opposed to this rules change. Of course, it basically simply affects the College of Law. So I was wondering if our representatives on the BOG could address that case specifically, but also kind of more broadly, Stan and Ashley, when obviously we're a faculty of thousands of people. For the big things, we're perfectly well aware, folks are going to disagree. But for at least like the smaller, more kind of targeted things that affect small numbers of faculty, like for our BOG representatives, how do y'all approach your outreach to people in those circumstances and your decision to vote certain ways on those kinds of resolutions? Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. So in relationship to that question, I believe that Stephanie Taylor came to the School of Law and spoke to the School of Law, directly addressing any questions and any concerns so they could have a specific dialogue, because you are correct. I think that's where a majority of the comments and questions were coming from. So she talked to them. As far as the information that I received or emails that I received in regards to this, there were a couple from law, like maybe 2, and those were the only people that I had heard from. And Stan, I don't know if you had, okay, and Stan is agreeing. So based on that information, we felt like Stephanie and her team had done due diligence in talking to the people that had concerns and the Qualtrics form to address the comments. And so we were able, or I was able to vote, you know, in that way.
Well, just like taking that more broadly, like, do y'all have an approach to this kind of, I mean, since you were the two people out of the thousands among us who are on the BOG, y'all have like a general approach that you would usually take to these kinds of situations, just so that we know, you know, what to expect, how to interact, those kinds of things. But if something affects like our program, our college, like I mean, part of this is like how y'all act, but also part of this is like, what should we be doing regarding you and Stan to make sure that our programs are represented, that kind of thing.
Sure, I think that's a great question. I believe that I can speak for Stan, and we always have an open email communication. We're always willing to talk to anyone and to address your concerns. So, I mean, I don't think that that's changed in terms of like a certain issue, not being willing to talk about something. So you can always set up a meeting with us, you can email us, you can call us, you can stop by our offices. So there's no formal approach, I would say, that I have, except being open to comments and having that conversation. Dan, anything else? Did I miss anything?
The other thing I would say is that the vast majority of the things that we discuss and vote on at the board are global. They do not impact a very small number of faculty, but instead more address things happening at the university in large. So that particular rule was kind of an oddity, I would guess. Most of the time, these are 30,000-foot things, and a lot of the specifics are decided more at the departmental, college, you know, those types of levels.
Any other questions or comments on this topic? Is there any other new business? Okay. Being none, is there a motion to adjourn? Yes? Second? All right, good luck with the start of the new semester. We're adjourned.